For at least over 100 years, anti-homeless architecture, which is also known as hostile architecture, has been a tool the government uses for segregation and of course the unhoused. And especially since the 2000s, it has gained a massive increase, which we don't want that. And in the worst cases, they just rub it straight in our faces. They can't make it more obvious. They hate poor people. But since I want to make my Minecraft city as realistic as possible, I decided to add hostile architecture to my Minecraft world. I got this idea a while ago when I low-key made a pretty hostile bench. Unlike this one, you know, this is what we need. And you know, I think this park is a good fit for a little hostile architecture. You know, it needs some. You know, how about right next to here? And one of my favorite ones, well, favorite as in I think it's stupid, is a bench with a hole in it for wheelchair users, because wheelchair users, they really need a seat. So I figured that would be a perfect solution for our first bench. Let's be generous. Let's give a little backrest, you know, because we need them. And then we need a text on here that says no kid should ever have to sleep on the street. All right, perfect. I wouldn't want to have it any other way. This, you know, that will show him. You know, let's put another one right next to it. Let's make it even more obvious. All right, what should this one say? End poverty for good. You know, it's really fitting that I made them look ugly, just like how hostile architecture looks like in real life. Right, so now that we've been inclusive to wheelchair users, because you know they cannot park to the side of the bench but only inside of it, you know, we might as well be inclusive to pole dancers as well, because a perfect seating area cannot stay a perfect seating area. All right, now this is coming together. This is proper ugly, you know, just the way we wanted. Wow, this just looks proper awful. I think I'm gonna break this after this video. I mean, if you really try that, this is Minecraft, but you know, you could just lay in between of this. Now, my biggest inspiration for hostile architecture will be Robert Moses, which, even though he passed away before the term hostile architecture really was a thing, he did contribute to it. Yeah, this bridge is way too high, because you know, a bus should not be able to pass through this bridge. This is way too high. So let's grab our stone blocks and our stairs and, you know, fill this in for a bit. And what he would do is make bridges lower so that buses wouldn't be able to, you know, pass through this. You see, this is way too high. People with low income, they obviously didn't have a car, so they would have to take public transport. And the rich people, they would be able to go to beaches and stuff, but people with less money, yeah, no chance. They wouldn't be able to go through. Oh wow, this looks lovely. And this was obviously an act of racism, as mainly African American people, they would live on the other side of the bridges that didn't have cars. And back then it was pretty much just white people who had the money to buy cars and not have to take public transport. And luckily it's an issue that we're way past now, you know, it's been years ago. But it's still something horrible that happened that deserves all the recognition there is, because we are all human and we should not be separated. And another thing Robert designed was the Camden bench, which I think this fits right here, you know. I like he wouldn't even know where to start with this thing, but we're just gonna try it out. I have some images on screen, so you can see this thing is ugly, but I think I know quite how to build it. Let's just give it a try. You know, to make it as realistic as possible. Let's make it 4. And as you can see, it has these slanted places. So, you know, you just fall off. Yeah, that's just awful, as it is. I think, like this, it's Loki, right? Oh, wow. Yeah, I'd not wanna sit on that. Let's make another design, right here. Maybe it could work. I wouldn't really know how. I don't think you really want to know how. I think, oh yeah. Yeah, that looks like a proper hostile bench. Now I'm trying to look for a building that has kind of like a staircase up to the door, but I can't really seem to find one. You know, I didn't really build my city with the intention of segregation, because I'm actually a good person. All right, finally yeah, this should do. As you see on the image I pulled up, you know, there's some spikes, so you can't lay here. But we're gonna take it a step further because yeah, we don't really have spikes in Minecraft, so I think these will do for now. Let's put them in the opposite direction as well. So you know, you probably heard them. Now I completely understand you wouldn't want someone laying in front of your front door. And if you're wondering where this is, if we go downstairs real quick, I don't mind this. You will find this guy has a massive rocket. I think we could exterminate some people with this. You know, while we're at it, let's make a bench version of this as well, just so you don't sit on it. There we go. That's proper hostile. Now for the last design, I am going to take it a step further. So first we're going to need this cute little bench here, and then after we dug a hole, and we're going to do the next step. And you might recognize this the infamous TNT trap from a while ago. Let's make this a bit cool actually. Yeah, that's a proper bench. Because once you see this, ooh, this suspicious sand. That's the wrong one. Hold on, I got to do normal sand. I don't want my world to blow up. I don't know how the new stuff works. Because you know when you sit on this, yeah, it's really over for you. Only downside, once it's been used once, and you got to replace the whole thing. Which it's a bit expensive, but you know, it works. Now I might come over as ignorant, but I am trying to shine light on this obvious big problem. And even though I've been making jokes about it, I am so obviously against hostile architecture and against segregation. And that is something we need to get rid of. You know, just like that, everyone can pass under the bridge again. Luckily where I'm from, there's a lot of help for unhoused people, but we all know this isn't the case for everywhere. There's so many countries, so many cities, so many places that just don't help homeless people, unhoused people, and we need to put an end to that. Now obviously hostile architecture doesn't only affect unhoused people, but also skaters, for example, who can't use, you know, stuff like this as to skate on. You know, instead there will be massive fences blocking the way, making it unable to use as yeah, you get what I mean. So why, instead of spending money on hostile architecture, why not invest money on helping unhoused people and creating more social situations where people can come together and be happy? It's not really usual for me to do a video like this, and maybe I should do more stuff like this, you know, shining light on yeah, bad social situations. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Go check out socials and other videos. Goodbye, outro.